Story. Tilda Mina's Pav Tilda. After the last study session with Yaomamo, I headed for my house. Unexpectedly, while I was walking down the street, I meet a friendly face. Hey Mina. Oh, hey Kirishima, I said with a smile. What are you doing here? I just needed some air. He closed his eyes and smiled while scratching the back of his head. Wait, he pointed a finger at me, smirking. What are you doing out so late? Well, I was kind of embarrassed to say that I needed help studying after Mineta somehow got ninth place in the test. I sighed, knowing that he already knew since I already made a big fuss about it at school. Study session with Yaomomo. I'm just walking home now. You shouldn't be walking alone. Let me walk you home. No, it's fine. I can just walk. Mina, come on. It is a man's job to make sure a lady arrives at her home safely. Suddenly Kirishima grabbed my hand and asked, so where are we going? I blinked a couple of times and snickered. A couple of blocks down this street. I'll tell you when we get there. He simply nodded and looked forward, letting go of my hand in the process. I quickly glanced down at my hand, faced my head to the side and blushed. Why did this happen to me? Tilda flashback tilde. After the couple of weeks at UA, I started to notice Kirishima. He always tried to pump people up, had a smile on his face, and trying hard to be a hero. He was different from how he was in middle school. Especially at the sports festival, when he was up against Bakugo, you could see how hard he was trying. Wait, I paused, thinking about the past. In middle school I was known as the Mina the matchmaker, because of my extraordinary recorded in getting crushes and people together, even though I mainly got them together because I shipped it. There was one thing I never got though. Every girl who asked for my help told me the same thing. When you're in love, you start to notice that person more and more. Mina, are you okay? I looked up to see Kirishima looking at me worried. It's lunchtime and I know how much you love food, as you're always the first one out the door, so. Are you good? Your friends are waiting for you. Is it bad that I want to sit next to you? When you're in love, you want to be next to them at all times. Yeah, I'm going. Sorry I spaced out a bit. I smiled to reassure him. Good. I wouldn't want you to feel bad. Kirishima gave me a smile, a thumbs up, turned around, and heading out the door to the cafeteria. That smile. I grabbed my bag, sat up from my chair and touched my chest. A noise pounded in my chest, my ears, like a drum. When you're in love, your heart starts pounding. I walked out and headed towards the cafeteria, sat down with Uraraka, Sue and Momo. That school day went quickly as I wasn't really paying attention to the lessons. The only thing on my mind was Kirishima. When you're in love you only think about that person, as if the whole world doesn't matter anymore. As we were all walking out of UA I looked up. Kirishima was talking to Bakugo. He was laughing and smiling. I want to be the one that makes you smile and laugh. You feel like you want to make them happy all the time. When that happens you can truly say that you're in love. Promoted stories. You'll also like The Lion Guard, Age of the Dinosaurs number 1. 4.3K69. Scar has returned while the Lion Guard start facing some creatures. They make an adventure in their lands while making a rescue attempt when Kiera was captured by those CR. One Last Shot, a Mineta Redemption fanfic. 10.1K168. This is a Mineta Redemption fanfic. If you hate Mineta, I advise you to not read this. Mineta had just done one of his biggest schemes, and the girls had enough. Izawa T. Ochako needs help. 27K591. All the girls in the 1A class have decided enough is enough. They are going to help Ochako confess to her crush. One way or another. Broken. Sao fanfiction. 21.4K223. Kirito hoped he'd be undefeated, but little does he know the secret to his death that could lead him and his friends to surviving in this broken world. Asao Fanfictio. Murder Drone Stories Incorrect Quotes. 20.7K 274. Little random stories kinda like one shots. Oh well, this became oni shots and incorrect quotes. Very slow updates. I don't write fanfics much anymore. Never stop fighting MCSM Gestra fanfiction. 18K343. After the Witherstorm and Sky City problem, Jesse quickly find themselves in a new adventure, and it was a tough one. Jesse and Petra had gotten closer, and eventually T. Colorful Sadness. A Zane Tilda Chan soulmate 011.1K336. This is a Zane Tilda Chan story, based off of the OTP prompt where, if you draw on your skin, it will appear on your soulmates and vice versa. It's also a high school but now I knew what those girls felt. Why they wanted my help because now I felt it too. What people called love. Tilda end of flashback tilde. Mina, Mina, Mina. Huh, you blanked out. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, sorry. It's just, the midterms. I guess I am just a little worried. Anyways, thank you for walking with me. No problem. Wait, is this your house? I looked at where he was pointing. That's not my house. I looked to my right. My house was 3 houses down. It's close enough to my house anyways, I smiled. Well then, I guess good night. Good night, I said after him. Kirishima turned and walked back slowly. I smiled faintly, turned, and headed home. Tilda Kirishima Pav Tilda. After a couple of seconds I looked back. Mina was skipping down the sidewalk happily. I smiled and headed back home. To be totally honest, I didn't go out for air. I guess wanted to see Mina. Her joyfulness, passion, and humor always made me feel better. However, for the past couple of days she has been distracted and I was just worried about her. As soon as I got home I heard my mom say to me in a frantic voice, "Eijiro, where were you?" "Sorry mom, I just wanted to walk my friend home," I said as took off my jacket. "You shouldn't scare your mom like that. At least write me a note or something." "Okay, I'll do that next time, I promise." I slipped out of my shoes and walked towards my mom who was in the kitchen. "Good," she sighed. "Boy to girl," she said with a smirk. "Mom," I said blushing a bit. I turned and headed to my room. "Eijiro, come here." I walked back hesitantly and sighed mumbling, "Girl." "Say it again, I couldn't hear you." "Girl," I said still blushing. "Can I go to my room now?" My mom giggled and nodded. As I walked to my room I heard behind me, my baby boy's in love. Blushing even more I closed the door to my room and laid on my bed with my hands over my head. My thoughts started drifting off into darkness, like it was looking for some sort of light. Finally it found that light. It was Mina. Her joyfulness and cute smile. I turned red just thinking about her. Putting my hands down I sighed, turning to the side, hugging my pillow thinking, I really have it bad for her, don't I? The next day I woke up to the sound of my alarm clock, got dressed for school and walked to the kitchen. I made myself some eggs, ate them, said, I'm off to school, put the toast in my mouth walking out of my house. I walked to Ua and as I was heading towards the entrance I heard my name being yelled out. Kirishima. I turned around and saw Mina running towards me waving one hand while the other held her backpack strapped. Quickly I wiped my mouth of crumbs and held the toast in my hand. Hi Mina, are you ready for the test today? No, she pouted sighing. Don't remind me please. I nodded and looked forward walking straight. Suddenly Mina got closer and I could hear my heart starting to pound. Mina, sorry I didn't have time to eat this morning, I woke up late. Can I have some of your toast? She explained. I smiled and nodded as I broke off the piece of where I had bitten and gave the other piece to her. Here, she smiled. Thanks. The toast was gone in a matter of seconds and I chuckled. Why you waffing? Translation. Why you laughing? She said with food still in her mouth. That made me blush a little and I laughed. Hey. She swallowed the food and asked again. Sorry, it's just, you look so cute when you tried to speak with your mouth full. After a couple of seconds of silence I realized what I said. We should head to class already so yeah. Immediately I walked faster to our classroom trying to forget that I accidentally called Mina cute thinking to myself, so not manly. Tilde Mina Pav tilde, Mina.x.
You want cheese on your eggs? No.
Is not responding.
He said no.
I just stood there shocked. Did Kirishima call me cute? Before I knew it Kirishima had already left and I couldn't even hear Toru calling out to me. Mina, why is your face red? She said as she waved her invisible hands in front of me, or at least I thought she was. I blinked and smiled nervously, because of the test. I really hope that all that studying paid off, I smiled. Although if I'm being true, now it's going to be harder to focus on the test. Well, we should hurry then. Uraraka, Sue and Momo are already up there, not to mention the Baku squad beat you up there as well. Let's go then. I speed walked and talked with Toru on the way to the classroom. When we walked in, Iida was ordering everyone to sit at their seats as per usual. Toru walked over to her seat and I walked to mine, which was close to the door. As I sat down I looked to the back of me. Everyone was having their own private conversation except for me and Kirishima, who was looking quite embarrassed. Was it because of what he said this morning? Just as I was about to ask him, the bell rang and Iida sped past me to get to his seat. Aizawa walked inside dragging his yellow slug sleeping bag. He stood in front of the class bringing out papers and a juice box from the bag. Okay class, now you all know that we have a test today. Hopefully you studied, so good luck. Make sure you finish the test before the bell rings for next class. Don't cheat or talk, we have cameras in our personal security system, Iida. He sipped his juice box and spoke again. Iida, passed these out and the test starts as soon as the tests are out. Iida stood up and passed out the test packets while Aizawa went to the corner and turned into a yellow slug himself, falling asleep. I started working on all the tests throughout each one we had in different classes, pushing away the thought about Kirishima. Finally, when the late test was finished, I let it back in my chair and sighed. Finally, we're done. I relaxed for a while when Kirishima stood behind me. Mina, you look like you're melting into the chair, he said. I got up and grabbed my backpack, replying with, I am now one with the chair, he is my brother from another, seat cover. Kirishima laughed. Well, anyways, let's walk home together since we are so close, plus maybe we can help each other to get ready to move into the dorms. I smirked and rolled my eyes. Someone needs help. No, I just wanted to help you. I shook my head and said sure. The walk home was awkward since this morning and in the cafeteria where I just didn't bother to look at him at all. After we walked for a while I decided to be the first one to strike up a conversation. Anyways, Kirishima, yeah, he still didn't look at me. I rolled my eyes even though I knew he couldn't see that I did so. Quickly I ran in front of him and made him stop. He looked confused, so I just said, why the question? Huh, you said, yeah, like it was a question. Sorry, I just am sorry for making you awkward. You know, by calling you cute. He looked away from me and put a hand to cover his face. Hey, I said and walked towards him. Before he could react I grabbed him arm. Don't apologize. I pouted and smiled. He looked down at me at first shocked, then he blushed and chuckled a little. Come on now, we have to pack up for our dorms, Kirishima. I said and pulled him as we started running. Blank, underscore, blank. Their kirimina backstory before then got together. By the way, they are already together when this story starts about izuocha. This is a backstory to how they got together and I will probably do this for other ships too.